I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit. All right, y'all. It is 1 p.m. Monday, November 29. Oh, man, there's only one more day left in this month, and we'll be into December. It's going so quick, going so fast. 58 degrees. We got a break in the rain. Woo, man, the rain, rain, go away. Come again another day. I'm telling you, it's a little too much. We need the rain, but even I'm getting a little exhausted with the rain right now. Good Lord. It's a lot of rain. You know, the only good thing about the rain is when you don't have to go anywhere. But I actually kind of like driving in the rain when it's dark. Locally, not on the freeway, but it's like locally, it's dark. You got your headlights on. You're hearing the rain hit the car. Your wipers are going back and forth pretty quick. Kind of like that. Something about it. But if you can sit in your house the afternoon, listening to it hit the window pane, you know, you got a good book or you're watching a movie or, it's just really calming. So, I enjoy the rain, but okay, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. So it is Monday, as you know. When we do on Mondays, we talk about COVID. It's important, especially now, that I had to come on earlier during the holiday weekend, which I tried my best not to come on and do a podcast, but that Omicron variant has whipped up. So we got to have a conversation about that today. We'll look and see what's locally going on here with COVID. Also, I actually did go over to the Kids at Public Health numbers when I came on because I think, again, that's important. And the more I can show how to navigate that, the more likely other people will jump in there and navigate that and find out information when they want it. As you know, it's updated every Thursday. Pretty easy to read chart. But if you ever have questions, you can reach out to Kids at Public Health and they will answer your questions. So they're very ready and present to do that, right? They want you to be as informed as possible. But before we get looking at the local numbers, I did want to kind of blow it up more globally and look at, what's going on with this Omicron variant. I'm going to play a series of videos and give a little bit of commentary on that. I think it's definitely something that we need to be concerned about anytime there is a new variant. And there's some things about this new variant that has many in the CDC and Dr. Fauci and many others very concerned right now. And while they are saying, hey, we've got to kind of wait and see, the country has taken action already, right? They've already shut down travel to 8 countries in Africa. So they're not playing around. So to me, that lets you know that this is a little bit more serious than definitely the Mu variant. So if you remember a few months ago, I talked about the Delta variant and then Delta Plus, and then there was a Mu variant that never did really kind of catch on, right? And so when you have these mutations, what happens is, they can either overtake the previous variant or they can, just kind of fizzle out. And so it looks like the Mu variant kind of fizzled out, but this Omicron variant is doing just the opposite. So also, as I shared with you on the 20th, what was that? The 20th, I got my booster shot. So just wanted to show everyone that up there at the bottom. So I got mine laminated so that I could, it could get wet and it's nice and sturdy in my wallet in case I need to show it. And so they had to put the sticker on the other side. But definitely wanted to make sure that I am good. As they are also talking about, let's kind of back up from Omicron. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so forgive me on that. I should put it in the chat, at least the spelling, Omicron variant here. But they're saying that we here in America should experience a more traditional flu season. And, we still have COVID. So, I got my flu shot the week before that. And then I got my COVID booster on the 20th. So I didn't want to get a double whammy at the same time. I thought about it. It's like, all right, left arm, right arm, go ahead and do it. And I was like, yeah, no, folks have been reporting that the booster has been getting them a little sick. And so I was like, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need to get sick from the flu shot and then have, the COVID booster getting me sick also. So yeah, like not doing that. So I just did it one at a time, got it out the way. It's all good. Very happy about that to be done with it. But let's go ahead and jump into some videos here. And like I said, I'll provide some commentary on the other side. But again, with the traditional predictor of a flu season and COVID, you're definitely going to want to take care of yourself. You're definitely going to want to. You're always going to be your own best advocate. You're also going to be your own best person to protect yourself and your family, right? So we can't assume that people are going to look out for your best interest, and your best interest is you and your kids, right? I've talked with you before. I have several comorbidities, and so I've got to keep myself safe as I can, right? And so I can't assume if I go out to the grocery store or to a restaurant or shopping for Black Friday or whatever, even to the movies, which I went to this weekend, right? I can't assume that other people are going to have my best interests and protect me. So I've got to protect myself. I'm going to be the very best protection that I can provide. So, wearing my mask, wash my hands a lot, making sure that I'm social distancing, keeping my circle small. I have a very small circle that I kind of associate with that's inside my bubble. Mm. And then I kind of keep track on what it is they have going on in their bubble too. So yeah, let's jump into that. All right, so as always, fair use.
Raising concerns around the world. The WHO labeling the newly named Omicron variant a variant of concern, first detected in South Africa and quickly spreading. President Biden ordering a travel ban effective Monday for foreign nationals from South Africa and 7 other countries on the continent. Canada, the UK, and EU are issuing similar bans. The president warns there's a lot we still don't know about the variant, which seems to spread rapidly. Scientists warn this new variant could be more transmissible than the Delta strain. It contains a large number of mutations. Dr. Anthony Fauci says it's too soon to tell if it can evade current vaccines. Here in the U.S., health officials on high alert for the new variant. Delta currently makes up nearly all new cases. At least 35 states report an increase in infections, hospitalizations on the rise for 3 weeks in a row.
All right, so I need to pause that, right? 35 states have reported an increase, and there's an increase in hospitalization, and there's been an increase for the last 3 weeks in a row. This is before Omicron, okay? This is just the Delta variant in the United States. Last 3 weeks, increase. I talked about this a few days ago. I talked about this last week, right? We can follow these trends. You can go to the CDC website and you can watch the graph, right? And typically it's associated with holidays and some other variables, but you can watch it, right? And it's going to lag behind. And so what was going on 3 weeks ago? Halloween. And then we get this increase, right? And it's getting colder. Now we have Thanksgiving, right? We have in Europe, it's wintertime. So these are all things that you have to be cognizant about and definitely protect yourself, right? Winter break is coming.
Today, President Biden saying the pandemic will not end until we have global vaccinations. ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off tonight.
Tonight, health officials around the world sounding the alarm about a rapidly spreading new variant first identified in South Africa, B11529, now known as Omicron. The World Health Organization labeling it a variant of concern.
This variant has a large number of mutations, and some of these mutations have some worrying characteristics.
Today, the Biden administration joining more than a dozen other countries, moving swiftly to restrict flights from southern Africa.
We don't know a lot about the variant, except that it is of great concern. It seems to spread rapidly.
Early evidence suggests Omicron may pose a higher risk for reinfection. Scientists fear it could be more transmissible than the Delta variant, and the vaccines could be less effective against it, though experts like Dr. Anthony Fauci caution it's too early to know for sure.
Right now, you're talking about sort of like a red flag that this might be an issue, but we don't know. Once you test it, you'll know for sure whether or not it does or does not evade the antibodies that we make, for example, against the virus through a vaccine.
Omicron cases have also been detected in Botswana, Israel, Hong Kong, and now Belgium, where an unvaccinated woman with no connection to South Africa tested positive after returning from Egypt. Now officials in
Okay, that's a little concerning. On your screen there, Omicron, I guess is how you pronounce that. So I tried to spell it out phonetically for you and for me. I'll probably forget tomorrow. I just need to hear it over and over again. But Omicron is how it is pronounced, at least in this news source here. And this is NBC News, by the way.
in Europe, where some countries had already reinstituted restrictions and even lockdowns from a Delta variant surge, are worried Omicron could be even more damaging.
We are concerned that this new variant may pose substantial risk to public health.
Right now, there's no evidence the Omicron variant is in the U.S., but experts believe it's likely just a matter of time.
You were on 2 airplanes?
Yes!
And even after the return of a more traditional Thanksgiving, with millions of families reuniting, America is also seeing troubling signs of a potentially looming winter surge. 35 states and Washington, D.C.
Pause there. They panned really quickly, but no, not one of those people was wearing a mask, just to point out. And then here, they're showing the increase in COVID cases. So, I mean, Virginia, what is that? What's it between Mississippi and Georgia? What's that? Arkansas? No, it's not Arkansas. Whatever that state is. Florida. Yeah, this is not looking good, folks. And this is before Omicron.
Reporting cases up at least 10% in the past 2 weeks. And now military teams fanning out to hospitals from Minnesota to Colorado as reinforcements for exhausted healthcare workers.
And everybody who's here working are so tired and frankly very broken individuals, and we don't have a lot left to give.
I just wanted to sit with that for a minute. You can hear the pain in her voice. I don't think it matters what side of the argument you're on, whether you're anti-vaxxer or anti-masker or however we're looking at it. I think one thing we agree on is we can see burnout and fatigue from employees, right? We see folks that are, worst case scenarios like going postal, right? That used to be a saying a long time ago. I don't know if they say that anymore. But people breaking down, leaving industries, right? I can't do this anymore. And you heard the stories when COVID was new and there was so much uncertainty and the deaths were increasing every single day. And we were looking at it, right? 500 a day, 600 a day, 700 a day, 1,000 dead per day, right? Now we have that now and we don't even bat an eye. But the fatigue from our medical staff should be alarming and scary. If you were in a situation where your life is in their hands, you need them to be at their peak. You need them rested. You need them mentally sound. And they're exhausted. They're burnt out. They've seen so much sickness, so much death. It takes a toll on you. And we already have a challenge here in this country with, our aging population. Many of our healthcare professionals are starting to retire. And I don't think the replacement is coming up as fast, right? For everyone that's retiring, we're not replacing that. with another 1-to-1 ratio or 2-to-1 ratio. So if you have an emergency, you're in a car accident or something else, and you end up in the ICU and you're being treated by a physician that is tremendously fatigued and burnt out, that's where mistakes can be made, right? You want them operating at their peak. So a lot of empathy and sympathy for our medical staff as they do their work. And they're just treating folks as they come in. Doesn't matter what side of the issue you're on, what your beliefs are. They're trying to save your life. So just watching that kind of hit me.
Healthcare workers just running out of steam. Trevor Alt joins us now. Trevor, there are still so many questions about this new variant, how transmissible it is, if it's more deadly. When can we expect to get those answers?
Well, Lindsay, the World Health Organization says there's already several studies underway in the field right now, and those will take days or weeks to complete. Typically, they can figure out transmissibility fairly quickly as a variant spreads. And Lindsay, we should also mention Moderna says they're already working on possible tweaks to their vaccine just in case. Lindsay?
Trevor, thank you. We know a lot of you have questions about this new variant. Let's get right to Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University.
Now, I think what's important there, too, is, not to be swayed into a false sense of security there, right? Again, everything takes a lag, right? They have to first identify that this variant exists, like something else is happening. And then at that point, they have to do all these studies and testing. They've got to track it, right? They got to see where it is. And so they're late. And so, if you were watching the news as I was, as this was coming out, it was like overnight. It was like, oh man, there's some cases of this new variant. And then boom, all of a sudden it started showing up in some other places. And then you've got the lockdown by our president, right? And other countries. It's like, whoo, man, this thing is fast moving, but they're reacting, right? They're not being proactive, they're being reactive because they can't plan for it until it manifests itself. So again, that's a scary thought there. All right, this is the national, and we are in a global society, of course, and South Africa and the other 7 countries in Africa, oh, that's so far away, right? And it is. It's far away. Unfortunately, it's closer than we think.
Canada's first known cases of the Omicron variant, 2 travelers who arrived from Nigeria, currently self-isolating. Now, Ottawa Public Health is asking anyone who's recently been to some countries in Africa and their close contacts to self-isolate and seek testing even if they don't have symptoms. For those at Ottawa's airport, not reassuring.
And they don't even know very much about this variant. This is the frightening thing.
Early data suggests Omicron could be more transmissible and might be better at evading immunity acquired by earlier infections or vaccines, but it's far too early to tell.
While it's important not to underreact to this news, it's also important not to overreact because we still don't have a lot of information about whether this variant actually is more dangerous than the variants that we've already dealt with.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says it has monitoring in place to detect new coronavirus variants, working closely with provinces, and so far, Omicron has not proven difficult to detect.
One good thing about this variant, it appears that the standard PCR tests can actually pick up a marker of this variant.
This is just 2 days after Canada announced a ban on travel from countries in southern Africa. Experts say the best case scenario is that such restrictions buy time.
Focused travel restrictions are not really going to be the most helpful tool in a situation like this, especially when there is more widespread infection globally, which is exactly what we're seeing.
An important strategy for this or any new variant lies beyond Canada's borders, according to World Health Organization advisor Dr. Peter Singer on Rosemary Barton Live.
This is a wake-up call to vaccinate the world. And frankly, we've had a lot of wake-up calls, and we should stop sleeping through the alarm.
Whatever impact Omicron has will likely
That's probably a drop the mic right there for that, right? A couple things that of note. One, I want to share with you the perspectives of news outside of the United States, right? So this is from Canada. So this is Canada's perspective. This is their report. And I've got one more video that I want to show you from another country so that we understand that this isn't localized, right? I think sometimes as we're dealing with things in our lives, we look at it from our bubble, right? Our bubble is our home, our neighborhood, our town, our city, our county, our state, and then wherever we're going throughout the country. So Omicron originates in Southern African countries. It's already moved about the world. They've already had their first case in Canada. There was a case of a woman who was unvaccinated who they said traveled from Egypt, which, as you know, is nowhere near Southern Africa, and she came up with Omicron. So, as it is too early to know, who knows? You may even find out that the origin is somewhere else. Remember, it was Washington that was the first touch point in the United States originally thought, right? Until they were able to do more investigation there. The second point that kind of perked my ears up was this, right? They're saying, well, you don't want to overreact, you don't want to underreact, which is true, right? Which is why I keep telling you, the best thing that you can do is be your own best advocate for your health, right? Don't assume that everyone is going to be altruistic and have been vaccinated and they're going to wear their mask and they're not going to go out into the public if they're not feeling well. Some people are going out in public and they know that they're COVID positive, right? So you've got to protect yourself and you got to protect your family. And what I would also say to that, and why it's so important to look at national or international news, is again, if this was just a situation that was just us, for many of us that look at our public health, kind of put the glass down, like, you got to check it out, like look twice, see what's happening. This is the world reacting to this, right? This is Canada shutting down the border. This is Europe shutting down their border. These are countries that are taking action immediately. And so while they're telling you, hey, don't overreact, don't underreact, they are taking those are big decisions to make. When they shut down travel, that's not a small thing, right? So, however you feel about the United States in terms of governmental leadership or healthcare, right? That's what the world is reacting to this independently for their own folks. And as they were saying, it takes a little bit of time, right? They've got to do this research, they've got to see what's happening. And it literally was like a blink of an eye. Everything was just fine. And then all of a sudden there was this variant in 8 different countries. And then it had multiple mutations, like, okay, just like an explosion. So please take care of yourself. Do the research. If you haven't been vaccinated, I will show you some places to get vaccinated here in the county. And as always, you can give us a call if you need transportation. We will provide that transportation to you for free. Just give us a call, 360-373-3000. If you haven't received your booster, it's a good time to do it. Like I said, I got mine on November 20th. I want to make sure I'm all ready. We see that it's getting cold. We've had low 30-degree temperature already. We've had this just nasty wet weather. Again, That transportation will be free. If you need your booster, just give us a call. If you don't have transportation. But be prepared. All right, let's take a look at this last video here. And then let's pull it to a more local and check out the Kitsap Public Health website, get an update. All right, this is from CNA.
The Omicron variant has now spread to more than a dozen countries and territories. Scientists are racing to find answers about the strain. Here's what we know so far. Well, early evidence suggests Omicron is highly contagious, possibly more than Delta. The first image of this new variant shows more than 30 spike protein mutations. Delta has 18 of them. The spike protein is the part of the virus that binds to a human cell, infecting it. Now, simply put, more spike protein mutations suggests more transmissibility and potentially more mechanisms to evade immunity by vaccines or even prior infection. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's more dangerous.
So again, what they're saying is, the more spikes, the more transmissible it is. And so while they're trying to figure that out, they're not just guessing, right? They are going about that hypothesis based on science. New variant has 10 mutations on the receptor binding domain, which gains entry to cells. And then the new variant also has 32 mutations on the spike protein. And what the spike protein does is it helps the virus enter our human cells. So that is just some education there on how this thing operates.
So far, cases have appeared primarily in young people. According to one of the first doctors who detected this strain, the symptoms are typically mild. She says that most of her patients experienced headache, itchy throat, fatigue, as well as body ache. Mostly symptoms that can be treated at home.
I want to pause here again, too. I think what's important to take note of is that this is apparently, so far, the cases are showing that it's primarily hitting younger people. So we already got this Delta variant that hits middle-aged and older folks at a higher rate. And so children seem to be more resilient to COVID, right? Which is why they're back in school. And for the most part, they seem to be doing okay comparatively with the numbers. So this is definitely a concern. This is definitely a concern.
Then there is the question of how effective vaccines are against this variant. Theoretically, Omicron has mutations that could potentially make vaccines less effective and raise the risk of reinfection. But limited data means it's still too early to make conclusions.
The whole hype out there doesn't make any sense, medical sense at this stage. We can't even say at this stage that the vaccine is escaping, the virus is escaping vaccine immunity. We can't even say that at this stage, because so far it fits in with what the scientists had told us what's going to happen. So when it's fully escaped the vaccine immunity, I think that's when you will really see sick people. But not now. We're not there yet.
Now, the reason why I played her is so often people that have different viewpoints against the vaccine, we know their voices are being canceled or shut out, right? And I don't think that's necessarily helpful. I think we need to have a conversation. But as we had on Kitsap Regional Library, shout out to them, what they were saying was ask yourself the 5 W's, the who, what, why, when, and where, right? And so the woman who was speaking from South Africa, right? And why she was downplaying it was the fact that she felt like the sanctions being put on by the United States and the UK and other countries by freezing travel is unfair, right? I mean, that takes an economic impact on those countries. And so they're saying, hey, look, hey, it's too soon to tell. Don't shut us down. This isn't right. So you have to understand who's speaking, what they're saying, and look at the facts, right? So I played that because I think it's important as we listen to folks and who they are, and let's see if we can rewind and see what her title was if they showed that. Is there a motivation there? So I think that's fair. Let me just kind of play that on mute and just see if her name comes up there. So that's something that immediately hit me when I was listening to her earlier. And I didn't see her title there. Back up just a little bit. I thought it did pop up. So let's see if it pops up. But it's something that you need to pay attention to, right? Because you can have someone come on and look very professional and speak very intelligently, maybe use the medical jargon, and it's like, oh yeah, that sounds good, or no, that doesn't sound good. Facts are important, right? Facts are truly important there. And so I guess they did not show her. I do not see her name. I could have swore they did, though. I'm just going to go back one more time, let that play while I talk. So again, please take a look at that as you are doing your research, getting your information, so you can make the best decision for yourselves and your family. But I don't see it popping up here, so maybe they didn't.
Time for science and those boosters. Dr. Annalise Wilder-Smith from the Lee Kong Chen School of Medicine at Nanyang Technological University joins us live now from Geneva for more on this. Dr. Wilder-Smith, the WHO sounding the alarm that the risk from the rapid spread of this new variant is very high. How concerned should we be about that message?
So indeed, it was declared a variant of concern because of the many mutations, more mutations than we've ever seen for any other variant of concern. However, at this stage, we do not know what the real public health implications are. It may be more transmissible, but it may not be more virulent. So we have to wait for at least a week or 2 or 3 to really know whether the change in the spike proteins does translate into much higher transmissibility and or also more virulence. If we are lucky, it could even translate in less virulence.
Okay. That's scary to me. I don't want to hear a professional, healthcare professional, especially say if we're lucky. If we're lucky, right? So they're saying, I don't know, it could be nothing, it could be something. But again, with the Mu variant, they did not shut down countries. With Omicron, they did, right? So they are erring on the side of safety based on past history of the way that this virus looks and acts. And this medical professional could be right. It could be less or it could be more. And it's going to take weeks to know. And while if you're listening to me now, it's more than likely you're a healthy individual and you're doing okay. But there are people that are not listening, or maybe listening and they know someone 5 degrees of separation or maybe closer who is going through this right now, that is in an ICU, who is on a ventilator, who has just passed away. So if someone told you that you had a high percentage of something bad happening to you, Would you err on the side of safety, or would you just throw caution to the wind and just go and do YOLO? Especially during the holidays. You know, I didn't reflect on, just as a side note, my brother passed away, um, oh man, so long ago now, from sickle cell in his 20s. And his Ascension Day is right now, right around Thanksgiving. And, that is always a difficult thing, right? Especially when you lose a loved one around the holidays. And the last thing that anyone wants to be doing right now is having someone they love, no matter who it is, in the hospital, dying or passing away during this time. Because it won't just be the impact for this year. It'll be the first year anniversary, the second year anniversary. So is it not worth getting vaccinated, getting your booster, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing? Look how fast this thing took off. Couple days over the weekend. And they're saying they've got to wait a few weeks before they actually know. But we haven't closed travel from Europe to United States or Canada. Like all the rest of the borders are open. So of course it's spreading. Of course, we just looked in our first newscast, right? COVID is up 10%. The Delta variant in the United States is up 10%, and the numbers have been increasing steadily for the last 3 weeks. If you've had COVID, and it was a bad case for you, and it impacted you negatively. Hey, if it wasn't a bad impact for you and you don't get paid time off and you lost out on money, that impacts you. It affects you. Maybe your kid got it and you had no daycare, so you had to take off work. It affects you. Oh, the moratorium of evictions is now over. Can't pay your rent? It affects you. Err on the side of safety. I'd rather have a good holiday at home, boring, quote unquote. 'Cause I can't go out and do what I want to do. The kids are stir crazy because I'm being hyper careful with them. I don't want them going over to people's houses and running around and doing whatever. I'd rather have the boring holiday at home, cooking, than the alternative of just saying, hey, it's all good. And then something happening to one of my family members. Oh, they went and had a sleepover and this happened. Because nothing will compare on the other side of that. That sleepover, that missed birthday party, sorry, just not that big a deal. That night out at the restaurant, not that big a deal. Just saying, err on the side of safety. I mean, even I went out to the movies. Was that Saturday night? But I'm kind of selective because I know that it's getting worse. I really wanted to go uh, have my guilty pleasure because that's my favorite thing to do. One of my favorite things to do. But I think there might have been maybe 10 people in that theater total. And I actually purposely went right before showtime. I wasn't standing in the line. I didn't even get popcorn. So having a modified version of having my cake and eat it too. And having the cake and no frosting. How's that?
Oh, Annalise, I'll pick up on that point you've made. As of now, we do not know enough. As you say, these mutations on the spike protein may actually work to make this new variant even less transmissible. But based on what we know from previous variants, is there anything we can read into spike protein mutations on Omicron being almost double the number that we've seen in Delta?
So the three concerns are that because of the many changes, there's now an immune escaping mechanism, which has three consequences. One, that if you had a natural infection that was closer to the original strain, you may now not be protected against reinfection with Omicron. The second is that the vaccines may now have a reduced vaccine effectiveness. And the third is that also monoclonal antibodies that were developed may now not work as well as it did before. What we do not know is the degree now of the immune escape mechanism, and that needs to be awaited for. And I can tell you that all the vaccine developers are now studying this new variant in the lab to show whether there is now a reduced neutralizing activity.
There is certainly so much more that we need to discover about this new variant, but let's talk about where the world is with inoculations, because we know that just over half of the world's...
So I'll stop that there. Again, fair use on that. You can check out those various news sources. That was, again, CNA. But it's good to have a perspective that's outside of just listening to local news or national news, right? Or American news. It's good to hear other countries and how they are looking at this situation. So, I think that it's a lot harder to have a conspiracy or have a lot of people going along with something the larger it gets, right? Because people are going to diverge from that. So that's kind of my lens that I kind of look at things through, aside from looking at the facts and things of that nature. Again, definitely concerning. I will definitely keep you informed as to what's going on with this variant here as it goes forward. If there's something that is really pressing and breaking, I'll come on and jump on and do a podcast and let you know, so you know. But as I said before, let's go ahead and check out local. So again, our good old trusty Kitsap Public Health District website. Again, just type in kitsappublichealth.org. It'll take you right there. And their website is nice and laid out for you. So you can see all the COVID-19 updates and resources right here. You can book a COVID-19 vaccine. And again, if you want, go ahead and schedule your vaccine and give us a call if you need a ride. And we'll make sure that you get to your destination. Right? Information is right there. But let's go ahead and click in. Let that load. All right. So can I get a COVID-19 booster shot? This will give you all of your information here. And so I am immunocompromised, which is why I went ahead and got mine done. And so a lot of good information here. We're just going to go back. And again, just as a little tip, when I clicked on this link here, it actually opened up in a new tab. So if you're just kind of looking up here to the right, that new tab is right there. I can just click back to the previous tab so you don't get lost. A lot of times, we're clicking around in a website we're not familiar with, and we can get a little bit lost. So it's always good to kind of know where to go there. Kids at Public Health front counter now open to limited in-person services Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So that's good news to know. They were closed for the Thanksgiving holiday. If they close for Christmas, I'll kind of take note of that as it gets a little bit closer to time. If you're looking for vaccination in Kitsap County, you can click there. If you're looking for Spanish and other languages, you can click here. Protect your health during heavy rain, right? We definitely been having the heavy rains for sure. And so I'm just clicking on the resources here, right? If you need to report a positive over-the-counter test, go ahead and call 1-800-525-0127. We can also, like, let's say, Gather Together, Grow Together had some cases at our organization. We could click this link and then go ahead and report that. And here again are the data dashboards, and that's what we're going to go into here in just a second. But here's some vaccine updates. Get tested. If you have a business organization, you can get some guidance there. If you are a youth in schools, great information here. The latest outbreak information is there. Various healthcare resources can be found there. Any contact tracing, and then Washington Notify. Okay. And you can even sign up to receive COVID-19 updates by email or text by giving them your email, or just drop down. And if you want the SMS text, then just go ahead and click that, and then that will change. And I'm sure data rates apply. Okay. Here, all adults eligible for booster shots. If you are 18 or older and have been fully vaccinated for COVID-19, you can get a booster shot to strengthen your immunity. If you receive the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, you must wait at least 6 months after your second shot before getting a booster. If you receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, you must wait at least 2 months after your shot to get the booster. See our vaccination page for a list of local vaccine providers. All right. And again, you can check out my Facebook. You can actually see me getting my needle or getting my shot at the Safeway on Callow. So shout out to them. So let's go into the dashboards. And again, as you can see, these dashboards are updated Thursday. I think I came on Friday or Saturday night. Maybe it was Saturday I came online. No, it's probably Friday. I did a show. So you can take a look at the cases by age, race, and ethnicity and language. You can look at cases, testing, outbreaks, and vaccination status in cases. You can look at hospitalizations and deaths. Okay. And then you can also look at vaccination here based on residents vaccinated in Kitsap, vaccines given by Kitsap facilities, vaccine allocations, and more. And then youth cases, vaccinations, and delineable by school district. So just clicking in there for those of you that have kiddos, and you can take a look here. Okay. And if we're looking at it, we watched the numbers kind of decline here in August. Kind of popped up when school started, which is what we expected. We had a nice peak there on the 29th of September, dropped way down on October 14th. And we had another spike on the 21st. Not sure why that was. And then here's Halloween. And about 2 weeks later, as we would suspect, there's an increase, right? So there's your bump right there. And right now, it's on the way back up. Okay. And this is the kid right there. So I think really good things to see. Number of new school childcare youth activity outbreaks declared in Kitsap by month. So here we are in September was 11, October was 9, November was 6, right? Got a couple more days left in December. This will be updated Thursday, so this number will change. And then percent vaccinated for 5 to 18-year-olds by geographic region in Kitsap. So if you remember, right, the vaccination for 5 to 18 just became eligible here recently within the last few weeks. And so you can see already the total of Kitsap is 32% that have initiated and 29% have completed. From Bainbridge, Bainbridge is doing pretty well, right? Almost half have it, or a little bit more than half have initiated. 48% have completed. Okay. I would also just look at data and little things kind of stand out to me. So what do we think of Bainbridge Island, let's say in comparison to Bremerton or Silverdale or Paulsbo or Port Orchard? Probably this is a more affluent area here, Bainbridge Island. So that's another thing I look at also, right? So you see the wealthy, middle class, upper middle class, vaccinating. Just little different things that kind of make me say, okay. Again, every Thursday, this data is updated. I showed this on either Friday or Saturday, but wanted to point this out again. As you can see, if you are, this is hospitalization rates per 100,000 by vaccination status. So again, if you're fully vaccinated, if you're between 12 and 59 years of age, I fall in that, right? Fully vaccinated, 1.2 versus 15 unvaccinated. That's a 14-time increase of being hospitalized if you're unvaccinated. Wow. And this is the past month. Ages 60 or over, if you're fully vaccinated, 6.7 were hospitalized, 24.7 were hospitalized who were unvaccinated. 4-to-1 ratio there. To me, that says a whole lot. I would much rather be vaccinated. Now, does that mean that you're not going to be hospitalized if you're vaccinated? Does that mean that you're not going to have a breakthrough case of COVID? I did. I was one of those people. I had a breakthrough case, but I was not hospitalized. However, with my makeup, with my comorbidities, my underlying health conditions, if I hadn't been vaccinated, I did get really sick, by the way, with my breakthrough. And I had both of my shots before I got COVID. It is very likely that I either could have died or definitely been hospitalized. But my chances just in the past month, 14 times more likely to be hospitalized if I had not been vaccinated. Again, that's what I look at there. You can see our COVID deaths here in the Kitsap County. Good to see that number way down, 57, 33. Wow. This is my age group here. That's quite a few people. 9 people that passed away from 40 to 49. 4 from 30 to 39. I mean, this is like the prime of people's lives here. Scary thought. Again, COVID deaths per 100,000 by vaccination. If you're fully vaccinated, 0.05. This is over the last 3 months versus 7. So again, 14 times more likely to pass away from COVID if you're unvaccinated versus those that are fully vaccinated. Here, if you're 70 and over, 7.9 versus 19 over the past 3 months. So about a two-time ratio there. All right. But all this information is there for you to take a look at. So I do think the reporting is really important. Kids at Public Health does a really good job of making all of this available and very easy for us to understand it. I don't need a statistician to decipher these graphs and charts. So they've made it very digestible, which is great. And again, if you want to register or schedule your vaccine, you can do it there. Okay. And as they say, St. Michael's, you can click on and make an appointment there. But they do suggest meeting with your pediatrician first if you're considering having your child vaccinated. So all this information is right here for you. So I hope that's helpful. Like I said, I'll be here every Monday bringing you this information. So it is up to date. The holidays. No, we don't want to think about this stuff, but we do need to be cognizant. Again, you are going to be the best person to take care of yourself and your family. Please do so. Please do so. It's cold out here. We are coming into winter. I think I'm a little chilly. That's why my lights are yellow today. I'm trying to bring in some sunlight inside. It's going to be gray for a while, folks. But that is our morning show, our early afternoon show, because it starts at 1, right? We will be back in 1 hour with Bremerton Housing Authority and Kitsap Community Resources. So remember, every Monday at 3 p.m. is Jill Stanton and Matt Garrett. So go get yourself something to eat, get a snack, and we'll see you back here in about an hour. All right, I'm Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit.